You're listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson, the podcast that tells you what it really takes to build a business and the simple steps to get you there. I'm determined to share with you the reality of easy, simple business marketing tips to make passive income so that you can start making money online. Hello, and welcome to today's episode. We are going to be talking today about how to stay motivated when the money isn't coming in, because that happens to all of us at one time or another. And unless we stay motivated, we're going to quit. If we're going to quit, then we're never going to get the money in. So we need to work out strategies to help us get there. I am very aware that at the beginning of podcasts that I listen to, there is a bit of chat, a bit of don't know really, people just kind of chat about nothing for a while until they get into the actual meat of the podcast. I think I'm supposed to do that and tell you about different ways that you can get in touch with me and that kind of thing. But I am one of these people that just wants to get into it. It's why these podcasts aren't an hour long. So, there are ways to obviously get in touch with me. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can. It's at Lisa Johnson Strategist. Nice and easy, at Lisa Johnson Strategist. I'm on Facebook as well. I'm sure you know all the places. And if you don't, I'm sure you can find them really easily without me reeling off a whole list of ways that you can work with me. So I'm going to get straight into it like I usually do. And we will talk about how to stay motivated when the money isn't coming in, because let's face it, this is a big one. We already know that most people in business give up way too early. I have a Facebook group called the Fabulous 5%. And the reason it's called the Fabulous 5% is because there's a statistic that I read really early on that said that with online businesses, like new online businesses, only 5% of them are still there after the first year. 5%. That means 95% of people have quit in the first year of business, which shocked me. But then I realized why that was happening. And it's happening because we live in a world where we seem to think that if we haven't made a six-figure month, and I don't know why it has to be six figures, but it always seems to be, if we haven't made six figures in the first 3 months, we've somehow failed in business. I get why. I think I might be part of the problem. It's because we only see the curated numbers. We don't see how long it took to get there. So people think that it's a real quick, easy thing to do. And the reality is, it isn't. It takes patience. It takes so much patience. And that's the one thing I don't have. Do you remember our parents and our parents' parents would say things like, I started up a business and we did really well because we broke even in year 3. That used to be a whole thing. Year 3 used to be, if you could break even by year 3 and not lose money, you were doing well and you'd go into profit in year 4. And people would wait for that and they would be very happy with that. We give ourselves less than a year to be able to make, and even if in that year we were making 2K months, we'd still think we were failing because we see everybody else making 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever figure is the trendy figure of the time. I think it's 10K months right now. And that's ridiculous. So the first thing we're going to need is patience. How to stay motivated? Be patient. Don't expect so much. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to get these massive results in the first couple of months, because it just doesn't work like that. I think the biggest thing is to think about why you are doing it in the first place. Now, I am a bit controversial in that I don't believe in this big why. That you're all supposed to have this big, massive mission. I can't tell you the number of business coaches that have told me that their big why is to help 1 million women by 2025. That seems to be a thing. Have to impact 150 lives a month for the next 10 months. I don't have a big why like that. I don't think you need it. If you've got one and it's a real one that you woke up one day and thought, this is why I need to go into business, this is what is going to make me continue, and good for you. I think that's brilliant. It's often not that. It's because someone's seen someone else say it. And so they think they need to have some big gesture to the world and even that they need to change the world, because that seems to be a given now as well. We all think that to be a heart-led business or to be a business that is worth anything, we have to want to change the world in some way. Not true. You don't have to change the world. When I started in business, I didn't have a big why. Did I have a reason why I was going to make it non-negotiable? Yeah, it was for the money. I needed the money because I was a single parent with 5-year-old twins at the time. And so, that's enough. to keep people going. You don't need to want to change the world. You might want to change your world, and that's all right. We tend to feel bad for that. Like, well, I wanted a business because I wanted to make money. No one goes into a job and becomes an employee because they want to change the world. They say, well, I want to earn money each month so I can go out on a Saturday or buy a new coat for my kids or whatever it is. And no one goes, oh, that's a bit selfish. But when you have a business, unless you have some massive, heartfelt reason to change the world, it seems that it's not good enough. Well, I didn't have. I had no all-consuming reason, but I did have something that would keep me going when things got tough. And I think we all need that because things will get tough. It's a business. If everybody could do it, if it was easy, everyone would do it. They don't. 5% make it. And you want to be one of those 5%. So to be one of those 5%, you need to have something that's going to keep you going. For me, there were two things. That first one was money. So I knew I had to pay the mortgage to keep a roof over my kid's head. Simple as. I was going to make it work because of that one thing. And that's a big motivator, the need for the basics in life. The second thing, though, was a need or a want to show all the people that had told me I would never make it online that I could. People always told me you shouldn't use anything negative to fuel you. And I'm a big believer in using adversity, in using the negative to fuel your success rather than the other way around. So one of the things that made me do that is that a coach told me in the first year of my business, she was bullying me online and she sent me a text that said, I will make sure that you never work in this industry again. You're never going to succeed. That one text was all it took to make it non-negotiable that not only would I succeed, I would make as much money as I wanted and I would make more money than her. That's all it needed. Because I needed something to fuel it. And it's okay for it to be something negative. It's okay because you've turned it into a positive even just by doing that. So don't think it needs to be some amazing thing. Now, unfortunately, you will get to a stage where, like I did, money wasn't the thing anymore for me because I had enough money because my business had worked. And so then it was proving everything to people. But then you've proved everything to people and then you have to find something else. But at the beginning, you don't necessarily need that. It could just be about money. So have a real deep think about, why is it important to you that you do succeed? Why is it important that your business doesn't fail? What is that reason? Don't worry if it's not a big reason, but write down what the reasons are. Because when the results are slower, and I don't necessarily mean monetary results here, because there are other things at play. I still want to get results now. Is money the big motivator for me now I'm at multi-seven figures? No. But, there are other things that I want to achieve and there are other results that I want. So whether it's money or something else, what you need to be able to push through the obstacles when it's slow and when the money's not coming in and when the results aren't coming in is to realize that what you want is non-negotiable. You have to realize it's non-negotiable. And the way to do this, there are two ways that I think work well. I knew straight away, this has to be non-negotiable. I was £30,000 in debt. I have to make my business profitable because I have to pay off that debt. And so it's non-negotiable. Even if things get hard, if there's an obstacle in my way, I'm going to have to go through it. If people say mean things about me on the internet, it can't stop me because I need this to be non-negotiable. It has to be more important than strangers on the internet saying bad things about you. It has to be more important than your pride and your ego. It has to be more important for you to succeed than time, life getting in the way, things going wrong in your life that would make you ordinarily stop. It has to be more important than you getting in your own way. It has to become a proper non-negotiable thing, which is what I did and what my clients do. So there are two things to remember. If other people are successful, you can be. So when you've started, maybe you're doing a passive income stream, maybe you've just started a business, maybe you haven't just started and it's been a year and nothing's happening yet and this money is not coming in, what's going to keep you realizing it will eventually and that you have to carry on? The first is that if other people are successful, there's no reason you can't be. If other people have made money doing what you're doing, there's no reason that you can't make money doing it too. If other people have successfully started an online business and run a course, then there's no reason that you can't too. Once you realize that other people have done it, then it doesn't matter how long it takes, you'll get there. Because why would other people be able to make it work and not you? Like, I always thought that the whole time. Whenever it was hard and I couldn't get the result, I'd go, other people have done this. If they could do it, I can definitely do it. And a lot of the time now, the reason I put my financial figures online, which triggers a hell of a lot of people, the reason I do it is so that people who are where I was look at my figures and go, blimey now, if Lisa Johnson can do this, I can do it too, because she's nothing special. And that's what I want you to realize. No one is. There's no magic formula. There's nothing special about any of these people that are succeeding. You are as special as them, which means you can succeed by the very nature of it. The second thing I want you to remember, it took everybody that you're looking at online who are successful longer than you think it did. They failed. They failed more than once. I've failed many times. Things haven't always gone right for them. They have put things out that haven't sold. They didn't just wake up and become an overnight success. You just didn't see all of the paddling beforehand. You just saw the bit at the end when they became visible. With me, the only reason this business was successful is because of all the hardships I had in the wedding business, the struggle I had for 2 years to make that work how I wanted it to work. It was years behind it. It's just that people only saw me when I became visible in this business. So then it was like, how has she suddenly made this money? Because of everything I'd learned in the years that I hadn't made any money. And so don't look at other people and think, yeah, but they're making it work and I'm not. It's the worst thing you can do. If you start comparing yourself to people, you're going to be in that 95%. I can tell you now, because all it makes you do is think there's something wrong with you. There's a reason that you won't be able to bring the money in. There's a reason it's taking longer for you. And none of that's true. There isn't. It's just a patience thing. It's just a consistency thing. And by looking at other people that you think are like having these amazing lives and everything's working in their business, you're doing a few things the wrong way, because the first thing is you don't know what you're comparing to. You're comparing your start to their middle or even towards their end. You just have no idea when they started, no matter what they say on social media. I've seen a lot. You also don't know who's telling the truth. I've kicked people out of my mastermind before because they've been shouting everywhere online about how they've just done a 6-figure deal or they've just made 60 grand this month and all of this kind of stuff, when they're actually coming to me, telling me in the mastermind they need help because they're not making any money. Like, that to me is like a massive integrity thing. And so I've had to say we can't work together anymore. But what that showed me and what it should show you is not to believe everything you read. Like, if people aren't showing you the proof of how much they're making, assume it to be a lie, because there's no reason that they can't show you that proof. Just assume it to be a lie. And that in itself will make you feel better. There's a lot of, with the whole money thing, I believed that there were lots of people who were my peers making multi-7 figures a year. And I was like, this is great. People are making multi-7 figures a year. That means that I can do it. And so I did. And so quite quickly, within 4 years, I was making multi-7 figures a year. I then joined some of these people in many different masterminds and talked to some of them and realized they weren't making anything like they were saying. They were using figures in a manipulative way. For instance, one of them who was saying she was making multi-7 figures, what she didn't say is she'd made multi-7 figures since she started her business. She just knocked off a year off the end and just said, well, I make multi-7 figures in my business. She wasn't lying. She had in the 7 years that she'd been in business, but she was making nowhere near that per year. But it did me a favor because I believed it was possible by looking at all these people shouting it that seemed like me. And so it got me there. But then I found out that actually I was earning quite a lot more than anyone else that I'd been looking up to for all those years, because they were all manipulating figures and putting things online that weren't completely true. So when you think, these people have done this so quickly, I want you to realize they might not have, and that you might be only getting a small portion of the story. And that should hopefully make you realize that it's a patience thing. You do have to keep going for a longer period of time than you think. So let that motivate you. And if you're in any kind of system, like my one-to-many program has a system, the cash system, there's a lot of programs out there with a system. I want you to remember that it's not the system that you're betting on. It's not the system that you're putting your faith into. I hear lots of people say to me, I'm really putting my faith into your one-to-many system to make me this money. I'm putting my faith in you to make me this money. I want you to realize what you're actually doing is you're putting your faith into you. You are the reason that this will work or not. Plenty of people have gone through any system, including mine, and it's worked brilliantly for them and they've made a hell of a lot of money. Plenty of people have gone through the same system and not made any. So it's not the system that is going to make the difference. The people that have unwavering belief and non-negotiability in them making themselves that money will make it. The people that don't believe it will work for them won't. I think it was Henry Ford that said something like, if you think you can, you will. If you don't, that's true also. Because it is about how you believe, how you think about your ability to do it. And that doesn't mean you're going to make money straight away. It doesn't mean you won't have to tweak things along the way. It doesn't mean you won't fail first. All of those things are acceptable things that are actually very likely to happen to you before you make money. And let's face it, business isn't complicated. It isn't actually hard. People make it hard by thinking there's some magic formula that they don't have that these other people that are successful have. There is no magic formula. There just isn't. What there is some pretty unsexy parts of a business that if you do time and time and time again for a long period of time will make you money. You know, being visible, showing up, writing that blog, doing the SEO, doing the lives, the parts that aren't the bits you see in people's feeds where they're standing on stages or they're writing a book or any of those things. The unsexy day-to-day parts are the bits that will bring you the money. And the biggest one of all of these things is consistency. You have to do something consistently for a long period of time, longer than you think you have to. The time that I see this the most is when people are growing an audience. So they grow an audience, they open a Facebook group or an Instagram, or maybe they have an email list and they nurture it and they want to grow this group. And after 2 months, they'll say to me, I feel like I'm talking to nobody. There's no one listening. And so I'm giving up on it. And that's that. I've had clients that have come to me that have said that, and I've forced them to do it for longer and said, just do it for 2 more months, because this snowball effect might happen where suddenly everyone becomes engaged because you've been so consistent that they're reliant on you being there. And so they'll do it for a couple of more months and then they'll want to give up again. And then I'll say 1 more month and then you can give up. And luckily in that month, this snowball effect will happen. And there was one particular girl who did this, and she did it in the end for 5 months, had to properly kick her backside to do it for 5 months. But she did it for 5 months. And in month 6, she made £45,000 from just that very small Facebook group because she had been so consistent that when she put something out, they all bought it. The thing is, if you don't be consistent, if you think, well, that person's using LinkedIn, so I'm going to do that over there. Or this person's using this different business model, so I'm going to do that over there. And this shiny object syndrome comes out and you start doing all the things, you're never going to make the money because you're not doing anything consistently. There's a phrase that says there is 1 million ways to make $1 million. And I believe it. I believe that pretty much whatever you do, if you do it for a long enough period of time, will make you the money that you want. It doesn't matter which coach you're following or which strategy. If you do it for long enough and you're consistent with what you do, you'll make the money. It's just that 95% of people aren't consistent. They will stop for a bit because they get a bit bored, and then they will expect it to carry on as it was. It doesn't. It's like starting again every time. So ask yourself, when you're not feeling motivated to carry on because the money's not coming in or the results aren't coming in that you want, ask yourself, are you truly being consistent? First off, are you truly being consistent and giving it your all? Do you truly believe that you can make the money, that this is going to work? Because mindset plays the biggest part here, not strategy. You already know the strategy. If you've been listening to me for any length of time, if you've been on any of my courses, if you've watched my stuff in Facebook groups, you know the strategy by now, if you're in my membership. It's more the mindset that is going to get you there, because that's what stops people being motivated. They get to an obstacle and the money's not coming in. And so they've got no impetus to smash through the obstacles and get to the next stage because the money's not coming in. When actually what you need to think is you have to get through all of those things before the money comes in. So your motivation can come in loads of different ways. Looking at others that are already there, realizing you are already further along than when you started, even if it's just by a few days or a few months, measuring your success in other ways until the money comes in. That could be, I want an extra 200 people in my Facebook group. I will be successful if I get that by this date. I would like 2 pieces of PR. I will be successful if I get 2 pieces of PR by this date. So measuring success in other ways, eventually all those things added up equals consistency, and therefore the money will start coming in. But also, in reality, the non-negotiable reason, that thing that's going to make you carry on, no matter what happens, because you have to have it, it's non-negotiable, is inside you. That's the thing that's going to keep you going. Nobody knows what that is except you. No one needs to know what it is except you. And no one can judge what it is. Only you know what is the thing that's going to make you carry on and not be in the 95%. And I believe that all of you can be in that 5%. I've seen it happen. So decide. It doesn't matter if things go wrong for me this week. It doesn't matter if I don't get the money in this week. It doesn't matter if I don't hit my goals this week. I am going to be in the 5% of people that make a thriving success of my business, and I'm going to make it non-negotiable. Hopefully that's given you some ideas of how you can carry on when things get tough, and they will get tough. They always do in business. And I will be back soon to talk to you about more strategy around the passive and semi-passive income side of things and more mindset tips as well, because I truly believe we need both in business. I'll speak to you soon. Have a great day, whatever it is that you're doing. Thank you for listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson. If you'd like to get hold of my guide to launching, go to lisajohnson.com/launch and let's get you making money online.